WTBQ. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the Home and Mortgage Show. I'm Michael Giannetto, licensed mortgage loan originator with Residential Home Funding, here with my co-host.
Good morning. I'm Janine Panarelli, licensed real estate broker, owner of Panarelli Realty.
Are you tired?
All of a sudden it got quiet.
Like, come on. There was no life to that introduction. Come on.
The music shut off.
Oh. And joining us this morning, we have Howard Lane of Farm Family Insurance, an agent located in Harriman, New York. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Our special guest today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today. Good morning.
Cloudy, cruddy,
dreary day.
Cold.
With another
the warmest
vortex.
day before the next
I hear about this cold
vortex. I lived
vortex.
42 years without hearing this word, and all of a sudden polar vortex is twice in a month.
Night.
Yeah, they said it last night on the news. That's going to happen at least 2 or 3 more times in this winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's good for you.
No, we don't like the cold.
No?
No ice, snow, cold, freezing pipes, slip and falls. No. We don't like that cold.
Oh.
No.
The slip and falls, that's got to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
speaking of slip and fall, we
Yeah.
had a little,
You can tell your story
we had
first.
a little something last night. So my son, we have a log cabin up in Ulster County, and he went away for the weekend with his friends. And he comes in the door last night screaming in pain. I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, God, this is going to ruin my night. And I'm like, Mike, what's the matter? They were jumping over a stream. And all his friends jumped over first. You know, they all made it to the other side, no problem. They're like, all right, he's the last one to jump over the stream. He lands on the other side. His foot hits a patch of ice. His foot rolls out from under him, and his whole body weight lands on his ankle.
Wow.
Oh, my
So
God.
he can't even move. He can't even breathe. The pain is so bad. And I'm like, well, when did this happen? Oh, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, Michael, it's 8 o'clock at night.
And he was still screaming when he came in the door.
The name Michael. He's like, no, the pain didn't set in. Like for the first couple hours, he felt fine. He kept on hiking.
How old is Mike?
Mike is 23.
Yeah, that's when we do stupid things.
23-year-old. He doesn't feel anything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he didn't feel anything. And then all of a sudden, as he was,
Plus, he was away with his
coming home,
friends,
he's like,
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly.
Who knows the grain alcohol was ripped out, all your bottles that you have
Say
there.
about my child.
He's not going to show weakness in front of his
That's
friends.
right.
I mean, come
The
on.
vodka and the rum is filled with water now
Oh,
because they drank
really?
it all. I used to do that.
Nice. Little insight behind you a little bit there, huh? Nice.
My mother would have the
truth
friends
comes
over.
out.
They'd be pouring water into the drinks. They had no idea,
Nice, really nice.
was
Yeah,
great.
so we were in the St. Anthony's last
So
night
he's all
till
right now?
midnight. They took an x-ray. They said it wasn't broken, but they said the same thing a couple of years back when he broke his wrist. They said it wasn't broken. 4 days later, it was broken.
Oh,
So
gosh.
who knows? He's on crutches. He's all wrapped up, and we'll take it from there. I left before I got to see him, so I couldn't see how much pain he was still in.
Oh.
But I felt bad. So they give him
The
the
Vicodin?
crutches.
Did
No,
the Vicodin set in yet?
We're so
Vicodin?
against that stuff. No, in my house, it's deal with it,
Bear
suck
it,
it up.
bear it.
That's what-
Grin and
suck it
bear
up.
it.
Yeah.
No.
So they give him the crutches because now he's exhausted. He just wants to get out of there. They give him the crutches and they're teaching him how to do the crutches. And all of a sudden he just starts going, and his momentum gets going pretty good. And there he goes, he's headed right for the door. And they're going, sir, you can't leave. You got to come back. And he's like,
Yeah, who wants to be stuck
so
in that?
all of a sudden you hear the crutches because I'm sitting in the room. I don't know he's trying to leave, so I'm waiting in the ER room, and all of a sudden you hear the crutches slowly coming back. He's like, "Oh, they caught me." So I felt bad. Yeah. So
funny.
we were up late last night.
So that's your story.
That's my story. $35 copay, and which is pretty good.
That is pretty good, considering a lot of
yeah.
people are getting their insurance dropped and
Yeah,
with
so
these,
changed and all that. So
skyrocketing
the
costs.
plumbers union's got excellent insurance. So $35
good.
copay.
That's great.
We moved on.
We need insurance.
So paid for his
Everybody
crutches.
needs insurance.
Absolutely,
Everybody
needs
needs
insurance.
insurance. Michael
From
need-
Farm Family.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Michael Giannetto needs
But
insurance.
Yes, well, my story from this morning is, going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden I see a deer's head at my passenger window, and the body smacks against my car, and of course, the back rear door is just destroyed.
Volvo.
And yes, I'm like,
The
my
Volvo.
Volvo. And that's the second time in 8 months that I got hit well, the first one I hit. The second one hit me.
They're
Today
out for
hit
you.
me. Unbelievable. I never wanted to go hunting before. Now I want to shoot every one of them.
Please, please.
That's great, Mike.
I cannot get that
But
visual.
just keep driving around, Mike, and you'll get them that way. I mean, you're 2 for 2 with Volvos and deers. I mean,
can
come
keep
on.
score.
That's great.
Good. So yeah, so you need insurance is the bottom line.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
happening this morning, and now I have to call my
I thought
insurance
this was
company
the
and-
share section of the radio show.
Yeah, share. Come on, share with us. Come
My
on.
family and I adopted a dog on Saturday.
Yeah,
Really? Excellent.
yeah,
What kind of
before
dog?
that,
From Pets Alive in Middletown.
that's where I got my Roxy,
yeah.
from Pets Alive.
Her name is Sky.
Actually, I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I think I liked it.
Well, thank you. So yeah, we were all excited. We had her everywhere.
Excellent. What kind of dog?
Two Pet Smart visits already, and new
Of
bed,
course.
toys, you name it. So
Wait, what kind of dog?
she's adorable. She is a Shepherd mix.
That's what I got.
So she's got these black and gray and brown
have
and
to show you a
beige
picture.
stripes, and she's really cute. So
Oh, how old is
Excellent.
she?
she's 4.
She's 4.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
so-
Yeah, I got my dog from Pets Alive too. A huge advocate for them.
Yeah,
I just
they
bought
were
them
great.
a space heater over the weekend. I'm like, it's going to get cold. You need more heat for the dogs. I was
Oh,
like,
you're like my wife.
I do-
She
well,
wraps up our dog every night in a
yeah.
blanket to sleep.
I love my dog. I have 2 dogs, but Roxy we got from Pets Alive. Her original name was Bertha.
I'm so glad you said that because my kids couldn't pronounce Sky's original name, so we changed it, and I had never really, wasn't sure how I felt about
Yeah.
that, but that's weird.
What was the original name?
I'm thinking they're not there
Felicity.
that long.
Felicity.
Yeah,
I
so-
can't. A dog
That's
named Felicity.
I like the name. I
I like
don't
the
know.
name too, but my son Tyler has his two front teeth missing, so he couldn't. Every time we would try to say it, he was having trouble. So we felt bad, but so it was good.
That's
So-
an
and
audible
he's
call
listening.
right there.
He's listening right now. Hi, Tyler.
That's an audible call right there. You couldn't pronounce it. Let's change your name.
Oh, jeez, no.
So
Bertha. Her name's dog
Excellent.
Bertha. So speaking of dogs, isn't there a dangerous dogs list?
There
that
is.
you don't want to.
There is.
I guess if you're a tenant, a landlord might not want to have a tenant move in with a dog that's on that list.
yeah, there's a dog list with certain underwriting criteria. For each company's got its different dogs. That it is part of the underwriting questionnaire for homeowners insurance that you would go through, and certain companies would outright deny you for certain dogs. Because if they've ever bit anybody, and where they came from, things like that. So there is a criteria.
I would assume
for-
it's like pit bulls, Rottweilers, shepherds,
I saw the list
things
the
like
other
that,
day.
right?
where the underwriting criteria, you're not allowed to specifically say it. You have to ask it and find out more
Oh, but we
about the
could say it.
dog. And
Can we say it?
Yes.
I saw an
Yeah.
Akita on the list.
Oh,
Yeah.
which
Akita?
Akitas have a great temperament, don't they?
I saw that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were doing a rental for someone, and the landlord emailed us and says, make sure, because the tenant that we were putting in there had disclosed to the landlord, look, I want to get a dog. I'm interested in getting a dog. And she said, okay, but it cannot be a dog from this list.
Yeah. Well, that's good
Wow.
that they tried to say it right away. I mean,
Yeah.
traditionally, yes, Rotties, Dobermans.
Yeah. There was Akita on there, pit bulls, yeah.
Those types of dogs.
You got to watch those poodles, too.
So can I ask you a question? I'm a landlord of a couple of properties. No big deal. But Janine, stop it. And we've had people ask us if they could bring in a dog, but we've said okay to somebody having a small dog. We on our policy we got the dog coverage, whatever that may.
As a
be phrased
landlord, you mean?
As a landlord, we
Okay.
got the dog coverage, and then we required that the tenant also got renter's insurance that would cover for it as well.
Yeah, renter's insurance is so inexpensive, and you talk to people every day, and it's like, do you have renter's insurance? Do you want to have an
It's like
apartment?
$100 for the year. It's like really
it depends on the
inexpensive,
contents
right?
coverage, depends on the liability coverage, but it could range from $100 to $300 for the year. And
It's foolish not to have it.
It's very, very foolish not to
Yeah.
have it. I mean, strictly from a liability perspective, forget your contents for a minute. I mean, if you're living in a small apartment, you have $10,000 or $20,000 of contents coverage. If you get sued for $300,000, $400,000, even $1 million, that's there as well to protect you. I mean, the personal liability for that itself is definitely better than the, not having it. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
Good.
So, did you
That's good.
let them get the dog?
That particular tenant didn't
No?
work out actually, but
Yeah.
that they actually the dog that they had was a pit bull mix.
do you have it in your lease with them, in your lease agreement?
Well, we really don't want to allow the pets.
Okay.
Unless it's like a gerbil or mouse or something.
watch those
on
gerbils.
those little wheels, whatever.
Or a
hamster. Yeah.
Oh,
They
hamster.
escape and they get into the wall.
Oh, stop it! I don't
We
even
did.
I don't
We
even
had
want to think
a
about that.
hamster escape.
Well, I have one
Then they
sitting
die
on
in
my
the wall.
dining room table right now because we're hamster sitting for my son
Oh,
Alex's
my goodness.
school. The hamster's
Oh,
name's
the
Vanilla.
sci- the
So the
science
dog's
class,
been
I'm
barking
sure.
at that for a day now too. So that's been little animal.
This is funny. I was at PetSmart last week, and we took the dog to get groomed, and we're walking through. I have my two girls with me, and we're walking, and my daughters are, I want a hamster, and they're looking at the window, and I want it, and I said, maybe we can consider it, right? So independently, when we got home, my wife said to me, I don't remember what we were talking about, but she said, listen, I never want a hamster or anything in this house.
Just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, but it wasn't. No. She had no idea that we were looking at them that day.
She
it just
wasn't with you.
it just happened to come up, and I'm like, oh well, it's good that you're telling me because the girls
we had
wanted
guinea
it.
pigs.
If you know Mike at all, his wife definitely wears the pants in the family. So that
Listen,
decision is
Listen to
fully
me.
made.
I wear the pants. She just may pick them out.
That's true. Okay. That's great.
All right, so let's get into more insurance here.
We're always deviating. You know what? Let's take a quick break first.
all right,
I think
sounds
we
good.
need to regroup. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Happy New Year! Now celebrate by gifting yourself and your family with a new kitchen and let the professionals at Hudson Valley Kitchen Design take your dreams and make them into a reality, from concept to installation and everything in between. Our well-trained, courteous staff will customize your new kitchen while keeping it within your budget. Start living the dream by calling 845-294-8242, and we'll have you cooking on your new stove in no time. For all the do-it-yourselfers, builders, and contractors, we invite you to our retail showroom located at 2713 Route 17M in Goshen. And please like us on Facebook at the Hudson Valley Kitchen Design. Call 845-294-9068. We will make your dreams a reality in 2014.
This is attorney Bob Krahulik of the law firm Beatty & Krahulik, the lawyer guy on WTBQ Radio. Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. for the latest in legal advice and tips. We're taking calls and giving answers to all your legal questions and issues on WTBQ.
Listen for Almanac and your host, Paul Tesoro. Almanac is proudly brought to you by Central Hudson Gas and Electric Corporation. That's Almanac, Monday through Saturday mornings during the 9 o'clock hour. WTBQ.
WTBQ.
And we're back.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us
morning.
again on the Home and Mortgage Show. We have Howard Lane from Farm Family Insurance joining us today.
Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
If you have any insurance questions, feel free to call in 651-1110. Right?
Absolutely.
We forget to say that every now and then. Yeah.
We'll
So
try
let's-
to answer them.
So let's talk about some insurance items here. What I'd like to ask is about mortgage life insurance.
Okay.
Right. So I'm a mortgage originator. Right. I deal with PMI, MIP,
PMS.
which is
Wait. We all deal with that, don't we?
thankfully, I will take shaving my face for the rest of my life and not have to deal with any of that stuff ever.
I had to bring it up. All right, let's go.
So,
Move on.
the life insurance is different than obviously the private mortgage insurance or the mortgage insurance premium that are associated with mortgages. Right, so on the with the mortgages, those particular items protect the lender against loss if anything were to happen, or against default, right, or sale, and so I want to differentiate, for people what the difference is with mortgage life insurance, and if we think it's a good thing for people to have.
Well, there's personal in mortgage insurance, and then there's mortgage insurance. Okay, personal mortgage insurance is portable. It is a traditional life insurance policy. Traditionally, it's a term policy. Personal mortgage insurance traditionally benefits the lender. Okay, where the lender is the beneficiary, where you have no say or control over the premiums or where the policy goes or comes from or how it decreases over time. So now personal mortgage insurance, which is a private policy traditionally outside of the loan process that you go through with them, and they take out a traditional term policy, 10, 15, 20, or 30-year term policy for the length of that mortgage. They can take it with them. They can keep it. They can, in this whole big refi.
But is it covering just for that particular, the house or the mortgage, or is it just a regular term policy that they can use it for whatever they want? If they want to pay off the house, or they just want to keep the assets or transfer them down?
It's the second thing, Michael. It's because you don't want to have somebody have control over it at that time. You want to have control over it. So it is life insurance first. It is term insurance that people call mortgage insurance, personal mortgage insurance. Depends on the term. You just want to make sure that when you take it out, you don't take it and have it through the bank directly or your mortgage holder directly, because that's benefiting them. That's making sure just that's covered, and it's going to decrease over time. A lot of people refinance. I mean, every few years, everybody, maybe not anymore with the rates going up, but, everybody refinances. I'm just kidding, Mike. That was a little...
He got white in the face.
I know.
He got pale.
His heart started going through his chest there? No. Come on. I'm just kidding.
Elizabeth,
no.
this is the big one.
That's good. That's dating you, buddy. That is really dating you. There's nobody out there listening that knows that.
Yes, they all know that. Stop it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But no,
I was
I don't know
Sanford
any
and
of
Son,
that.
just
I'm
in
too
case.
I have no idea what you're talking
no.
about.
You want to get a term insurance policy to protect the mortgage and any final expenses, any assets that you need to protect, credit card debt, school, future income, things like that.
Okay, so if you have a married couple and they both own the house, and one has, do both? How can I think of this question? Do both people need to be on the same policy? If something happens and one spouse passes away, it pays off the mortgage?
You want to have one on each. You want to have one on the husband, one on the wife, because depending on what your plans are for the future.
Because they're both on the house, so you should
Correct.
have it. Okay. So if something happens to one spouse, then it gets paid off, and then the spouse has no mortgage.
I use myself for example. I mean, I make the larger income in my family, which I have to protect that portion with life insurance. And then, God forbid, something does happen to me, my wife can decide to stay in the home, to move, to sell the house. At least she has that time and that money to put towards what she wants to put towards. Not having the mortgage company say, "Oh, the house is paid." Okay, great, but maybe after somebody passes, they don't want to stay in the house. They want to move on, or they want to go someplace. So you have to have that control.
So I'm glad that you're explaining it like that, because, excuse me, I didn't want to say it and blow up the mortgage life insurance side, but I didn't think it was a good in my opinion, I didn't think it was a good and I don't know if you want to call it an investment, but
it's definitely not an
policy.
investment. It's definitely
it's
not
a
an
decreasing amount. You're paying higher premiums, and it's decreasing over the life of the loan versus getting a regular term policy like you're discussing, and now it stays flat for that level, right, for that 15, 20, 30
Correct.
years, whatever that may be.
Correct.
So
and we sit down and we do a full
option.
needs evaluation based on the home that they have, based on the income replacement, based on how many children they have, if they want to plan for college savings. I mean, we do a full needs analysis to see what number that should be, and then decide if it's a financial commitment, what they could afford. Because usually sometimes what the formula says and what you could afford are traditionally two different things, but some is better than none.
Absolutely, and I've seen and heard some nightmare stories where people don't have life insurance. I mean we're not getting any younger, and I think it's a point where we start.
You're
hearing,
not getting it,
yeah,
but I'm using oil of Olay. So
I know you're still celebrating anniversaries of your 39th birthday. But,
That's great.
So I think
it's
that should all be part of somebody's estate planning too, right? What
Absolutely.
they do, and to cover all their necessary.
It really
things.
depends on at what point in your life you are, what type of coverage you should have, whether it should be term, whether it should be whole, whether it's part of your whole portfolio. So you should just sit down and look at your homeowner's insurance, see what you owe on the mortgage, look at your other debt. If you have young children, do you want to pay for college? Do you want to plan for college? Things like that we look at. We sit down and we figure out a number that is fitting the person's budget.
Okay. And just so we've mentioned it a couple of times, people can reach you at your office, right? 845-738-8801.
Correct.
Right? Or farmfamily.com, and then find the Harriman office.
Yes.
Okay, good.
We were talking last week about below ground oil tanks. So I know we had a lot of questions about that. Do you guys have that, what is that, pollution exclusion clause?
Well, each company's different, and
Right.
that's with the pollution and the underground tanks. You have to be very, very careful with when were they last serviced.
Yeah.
How old are the tanks? I mean, that is part of a new questionnaire. So it depends on the level of the homeowner policy and which company, because that does vary
Oh, I gotcha.
drastically.
Okay. So you have like a silver package, a gold package, like all that kind of stuff. So
Correct.
I getcha.
Correct.
That makes sense. So it depends upon what you took out.
And that's why it's just not always about price. You have to sit down and you got to figure out.
What are you getting? You pay for what you get, or you
Yeah.
get what you pay for. That's
it's
that's what
a
I
true
meant to say.
saying.
You get what
It's
you
definitely
pay
a
for.
true saying,
I talk to people right now, and what I've seen in the last few months is you put up a shed, you put up a detached garage, and they don't call their insurance advisor, or they just assume it's covered until something happens. So that's something that's part of a contract, but at what level? Traditionally, another structure coverage is 10% of your dwelling. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have a $300,000 dwelling, you have a garage for $30,000. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's not. But
and that's going to add on what kind of dollar amount?
very
marginal, right?
Very, very minimal. Very, very minimal. Also, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael. Is that homeowners insurance liability coverage to me is the biggest thing. And most homeowner coverages and quotes come with a $300,000 limit. To go from $300,000 to $1 million is $30.
Wow.
Oh.
So it's not,
Why wouldn't
Why
anybody
would you?
do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are too happy nowadays.
Exactly. But
They
$30.
are too happy.
But if
the American way.
If I came in
Yeah.
with a quote of $630 compared to $600, you got to
wouldn't you
make
do it?
sure you're looking, and somebody's got to be educating you on what you're getting.
Right. It's hard to do apples to apples, I'm sure, because people aren't getting the full story also,
No.
unless they're detailing it. I mean, I know for me, I'm in the mortgage business. I see deck pages all the time. My own is 30 pages long. You start reading through it, and I'm asleep in about, 30 seconds. So,
No comment.
Yeah, but now, like, who are you going to call now with a claim right away? First thing you're going to call with the deer hitting you is going to call,
Of course.
what's my deductible?
Howard, what do I do?
So it's, nobody wants to pay for insurance. Nobody. But who's the first person you call? Car accident, problem at the house.
Yeah, it's
Your
necessary.
mother.
It's necessary. Yeah, necessary. I won't call my mother.
I don't care who you call. You call your mother.
I won't call my
Ma!
mother. The first accident I ever got into when I was 16 years old, I called her. I said, "You got to pick me up. I'm at the hospital," right? Because we didn't have cell phones. And so here she is. She's like, "You idiot! What'd you do?" Not, "Hey, how are you?" It was,
You
wrecked your
okay?
car.
Deep down inside, she was like, I'm
I
glad
know
he's
she loves me.
okay.
I know. She might be listening. Hi, Mom.
Michael Todd.
Is that a middle name, Todd?
I learned that about him. Yes.
Oh, there's some
Todd.
ammunition for me later.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you.
all over it.
Thank you
I
very
was all
much.
over that one.
I get a lot of abuse, people.
So one of the big things that I think we need to educate people on is the difference between the replacement cost and the actual cash value. I don't think anybody has a clue what they're actually covered for. If there was to be a fire or something like that, where the whole house is like, I guess a car, you would say it's totaled. What's the terminology for when a whole house is?
Well,
So wait,
Got it,
actually,
Barbara.
before
Go
you
ahead.
answer that, because I actually have a question and some information regarding the mortgage side. That a new guideline that came out, at least internally, was our insurance used to be that you could cover the loan amount, right, for your insurance, whether with a full replacement rider, right, or not, and you were good. Now, as of a couple of weeks ago, it was that it's got to be the loan amount or the full replacement cost based on the appraisal, right? So it changed and could be higher, right, based on that full replacement value.
I'm confused. Okay, we're gonna give this one to Howard.
Okay. Well, replacement cost and actual cash value, two drastically different things. Most of the banks today will not accept actual cash value. We call it ACV. They want that replacement cost endorsement. The biggest thing that I've been talking to clients about is they'll see their homeowner declaration page and they'll say, wow, that's insured for $400,000, but I can only sell my house for $200,000. Well, the replacement cost, excuse me, has a lot of other numbers built into the insurance replacement number of $400,000. Those numbers consist of debris removal costs, permits, architect fees.
So replacement cost, that is to completely rebuild the house and what it would cost today or at that time
Correct.
to build that house.
Correct. The biggest thing out there is this thing called ordinance of law, which there's the codes 20 years ago that was okay to build a house are completely different today. The electrical codes, the heating codes, everything. So God forbid there is a partial loss and half the house is destroyed. One, there's a cost to either demo the half that's not destroyed, that's part of that replacement cost number, or to rebuild that other half back, you have to make sure the old half is up to today's codes.
Gotcha.
So-
I didn't think of that. Ooh, I
So
didn't think of that.
that is the biggest piece. If you had a vacant piece of land to build a $300,000 home is one thing.
Right.
But that same home where a house is destroyed to build a $300,000 home is going to cost you four and a quarter.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we're going to pick up on that. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break.
I'll pick you up after school. Okay, I got it.
It's easy to take a day for granted. You and your family are connected by routine, and you stick to it. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if your day's routine is disrupted and you can't reach your family? Have you planned for that? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Today. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Ready.gov. This message brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
You work hard for your money. Don't you want your money to work hard for you? Contact the Warwick Valley Financial Advisors at 845-981-7300 for our Search for Income and find out what's available to you.
Hi, this is Dr. Nick Belasco, host of the St. Anthony Community Hospital Roundtable, heard every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Tune in to hear about the latest in health news from me and my guests here on WTBQ.
WTBQ weather.
We'll see clouds today with some sun ahead of an Arctic cold front, the highs in the upper 30s. Tonight, some snow showers will accompany the front. It'll get windy and temperatures will drop to the low teens. Tomorrow, look for clouds and some snow showers during the afternoon. It'll be windy and cold with a high only in the upper teens. Mostly cloudy, windy tomorrow night, lows 0 to 5, and partly sunny, very cold again on Wednesday, highs only between 10 and 15. This is meteorologist Tony Salimo from the WTBQ Weather Center.
WTBQ.
We're back. You're listening to the Home and Mortgage Show on WTBQ 93.5 FM. That would also be WTBQ.com in lovely Warwick, New York.
Yes.
I love Warwick.
And the Home and Mortgage Show, you can find us on Facebook, called the Home and Mortgage Show, obviously.
Yeah,
and,
they're called the Home and Mortgage Show.
My first day with my new mouth. And you can find us online at our website, the Home and
That happens to you quite often, though. I
know.
I need to remind you.
I get a new mouth every week.
And
so
we're here
easy.
with Howard Lane from Farm Family Insurance, so we're picking his brain. We got a
And
lot
we
of
were talking
questions. We were
about that
talking about
homeowners.
the replacement cost versus the actual cash value. Yeah, so replacement cost includes everything from soup to nuts. You have to get rid of the mess before you can rebuild.
Correct. I mean,
So.
most people don't want to really hear that, but that's
That's
the
the truth.
industry. It's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had that vacant piece of land, it's much easier to build a home than it is if that home is destroyed by a covered peril. I mean, that's just the facts as far as permits and architect fees and demolition costs.
You don't think of all
and
that kind
No,
of stuff.
definitely
You
not.
really don't think of it.
Debris removal is huge because now you can't just take and throw it in a garbage pile. It's got to be, it's got to be correct.
Oh, you got to
can't
make
just,
sure you're not throwing out. Yeah.
Environmentally friendly, that's
Correct.
the word.
Correct. So I mean, you can't just take everything and throw it. So I mean, there's so many other fees built into that replacement number. You know, the biggest joke I get from clients is, "Oh, I'll burn it down for that." No, please don't. Insurance for it. No, don't do that.
Right.
I mean, people just my house, but they can't get past my house. I can't sell my house.
So then,
for that.
now,
I
what's
can't
the
sell-
actual cash value?
The actual
What is
cash
that part?
value has that piece to it, but then it's less depreciation. And if you insure the house for less than the replacement value, there's a penalty if there is a partial loss. So there's
Okay,
on top of
would
the
we say that's
deductible.
not something we recommend?
I wouldn't recommend it for a home. Absolutely not. I do have some agricultural clients that I insure farms in the area that I do that for barns and outbuildings and things like that.
Okay.
But not for a home. I would never, ever recommend that.
Wow. Wow.
It's not in your best interest. For the $100 savings,
Right.
no.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Is there a calculation that you would use off the top of your head, saying X amount per thousand or something? Because I've had in the mortgage situation where people were going and were getting their insurance, or they're choosing their agent, and they're calling them saying, okay, I'm buying it for X, and here's my loan amount, and then they're coming back and the agent is saying, but we have to cover it for Y, right? And they're saying, well, why is that? It's so much higher than even the purchase price sometimes.
Correct.
So is there a calculation? Is there an easy kind of formula, or is
The
it just...
industry uses a lot of different programs. Farm Family uses a program called Marshall, Swift and Beck. It's an insurance cost estimator. You put year built, square
Good
foot. You put year built, square footage, style of home, a lot of other ancillary information in there, and the zip code, and it says, okay, this house was built in this year in this zip code, and this is the replacement value, and that's what we base our quotes on.
I have a question.
Sure.
In this economy, and especially in the winter now, we have a lot of short sales, foreclosures, vacant homes. I had gotten a call Christmas Eve that one of my properties that I had listed, the neighbor next door called and said, you have water literally pouring out the front door.
Oh, my God.
What so I'm like, okay, it's Christmas Eve. I'm frying fish. Water pouring out the front door. No matter
Say,
how many
"Shh.
times. Yeah.
Sorry, I
You're
can't hear
breaking
you."
up. You're breaking up. The thing
Going
is,
over the mountain.
I have people sign disclosures that they've been informed numerous times to winterize a property. What if they don't winterize it?
Well, most insurance companies, depending on how long the house is vacant or unoccupied, those two terms are very important in the insurance industry, because vacant and unoccupied means, well, unoccupied, there's furniture, there's
They
belongings.
could just be away on vacation for a month.
It could be a
that's
summer.
interesting.
Could be a
Yeah.
summer
Never knew
home.
there was a differential.
Could be a summer home where you have things in there, but you're coming back to where the other one is an
Vacant,
absolute no. It's definitely, you need to know that, because a lot of insurance companies, if it's vacant for 3 months, they won't touch it.
Wow.
Especially new.
Is there Are you done with that? Because I have a question regarding.
Go right ahead.
that. Okay.
You cut me off all the time. What's the difference? Go right ahead.
Shh, my turn. So let's take that as an example. And there's a water problem, right? But the water problem stemmed from a frozen pipe that burst.
That was on my list. So
Is
go ahead.
that is that a covered item because it was caused by Mother Nature freezing the pipe, or is that just flood and
What if
you're
you
done?
weren't home that day? We talked about this 2 weeks ago.
I had a frozen pipe in my house, yeah.
but you happened to be home. Or, what happens if you're away that day and you just come home and...
Are we talking about the traditional homeowner policy that Mike has, or the vacant or unoccupied?
Oh, I'm sorry, the traditional.
Okay,
The traditional.
because with insurance we have to be very
Yes.
specific.
Okay.
Mike's home, if it's an all-risk homeowner.
Oh, it's high risk.
Well, with Mike there, it's definitely high risk.
It's high risk.
Okay, but because insurance is covered, the contracts are specific to perils: fire, lightning, windstorm, rain, hail, collapse. These are specific perils that any insurance contract covers. For Mike's traditional homeowner, freezing pipes would be covered. Yes.
There you go.
Oh, that's all right. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I know my husband had a question about trees.
Okay.
So you have a storm, excuse me, you have a big tree limb fall down. Does somebody come out to determine whether or not that tree was a healthy tree prior to the storm?
Most policies are limited for tree coverage. Okay. Most
That's
policies.
what he said.
He
says, I need to know.
It depends on the company. Traditionally, $500 or $1,000 to clean up a tree is really it. Unless you say you had.
But what about the damage on the house?
Wait, what if the tree fell on the house?
It's different.
Okay,
You
so
look
if the
at
tree.
it differently. Are you looking just for cleanup on the tree?
Oh no, I'm talking
Okay.
about the tree fell on your house, or a big tree limb fell on your car. Ooh, that's double.
Mm-hmm.
That's a double whammy. Now you got your homeowner's insurance and car insurance. That's
Yeah, exactly.
That's not
A
good.
discount, but let's,
Exactly.
It fell on your
let's keep it to the home, though.
Tri-line discounts, absolutely. Home auto life, absolutely. No, they're going to look to see if the tree was healthy or not, but the claim's going to be covered.
It will. Okay. Hon, there's your answer.
I mean, it's going to be covered. I mean,
All right.
you should know if there is a dead tree on your property and it's going to hit your house, and
Yeah,
you
well,
know
there are
it,
a lot of people,
then-
some people don't have $800 to take down a tree or remove that big limb. And if something happens, who's going to
But
be
I mean,
responsible?
If you know the tree is dead, you should take it
Oh,
down.
absolutely.
I mean,
But
because the damage to the
I've
house
seen it.
and the deductible.
My husband
is,
goes next door with the chainsaw and he's like, "We got to do something because it's going to be, our car that it falls on." Or
It's something that happened to me, not me, but a client last year, in the spring of last year. We were working on a purchase. They were about to close. We needed a reinspection on the appraisal for a minor item. And the appraiser goes out there, and there was a tree that fell and destroyed the rear deck and brought it down.
We had a lot of wicked storms,
Yeah,
of
but nobody told us.
Lot of
Nobody told
storms
us.
last couple of years.
So they had to replace the whole thing prior to the sale.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about fires? How do you look at a home fire? Do you do an investigation first? Is there things that would be excluded? I know when we first moved up here, it was maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, and this huge. We were woken up by this tremendous boom, and I look out my front window, and my neighbor's house was completely engulfed in flames.
Oh my goodness.
And actually, it was in July, and then the following July, the neighbor behind me, the same thing happened. Whole house. So I'm like, oh, we moved to this block. I don't think it's
You're
a
on
good
some
idea.
kind of burial ground
This was
over there.
something bad. But what had happened was the one house was a propane tank, and the other one was they were away because they were having the floors re-urethaned.
Wow.
And something happened, I guess, with the ventilation and the pilot light on the oven, and and that's what started caused the fire. The whole thing, boof. We're standing in our yard watching.
Is that what an
flames.
explosion sounds like?
Boof. Yes. Boof.
Is that
Yeah,
like
well, you hear
bouffant
it.
hair from the
Boof.
80s?
Well, you would.
I know you want to bring it up. You're dying to bring it up.
I'm trying to not. I didn't have big bouffant hair, and I highly doubt you did either. but-
Oh yeah, I highly doubt that too.
I did. What do you mean? You saw the picture.
That was not. That
Not
was
like
not,
the guys in the back.
They were like 80s rock band guys.
They were from Rat, I think.
I didn't have big hair, although I did have some friends who did, and they went everywhere with a can of hairspray. No matter where they went, there was
Some Aquanet.
Yes, it was like I had this one friend, Angela, if you're listening, she was on a Ferris wheel. At a carnival ride, and we were on the ground, and we're looking up. We're like, "What's that mist?"
And she was spraying it while she was on.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta love
That's
her.
probably a
Gotta love
homeowner's hazard too.
That's a gotta love her. Aquanet. Oh God. So, do you? Because a lot of times, there's doesn't the fire department do like an investigation to see what caused the fire? Because again, like you were just saying, you had people saying, for that value, I'll torch the house. Obviously that's not going to be covered. So isn't there some kind of investigation, CSI period where you figure out why did this house blow up to make sure you're going to pay?
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking for fraud. Claims adjuster comes out and does look for fraud. But
is it the claims adjuster does the same thing as the fire department does, or does the fire department say this was started by an outlet? Here you go. Here's the information.
There's going to be multiple inspections.
With the outlets, they're saying those.
GFIs?
No, not the GFI. The plugins. The
Glade.
plugins, the Glade plugins,
Really?
yeah, they say they
get too hot.
They get
and
really
they're
hot.
causing-
You got to watch for that.
There's another thing I found out about recently where, the surge protectors, most of the surge protectors are made over in Asia somewhere, and that they have a fake UL listing on them. Yes. Wow. And that if you are using any type of surge protector, or what you think is a surge protector in your home, that you should make sure that it has a breaker in it. To protect against it, because there's a lot of fires that are caused by these surge protectors.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
all right.
That's
We're going to take another quick break, our last break, and we'll be right back.
Quality and professionalism are two words that describe Ultra Home Inspections. Fully licensed, certified, and insured. Their training and skill will provide you with all the information you'll need to make an educated decision on your home purchase or sale. Ultra Inspection serves Orange and Sullivan counties in New York and Pike and Wayne County in Pennsylvania. Call 845-545-0960 or check out all their services by visiting their website at www.ultrahomeinspections.com. Master Pest Control is proud to be a sponsor of the Home and Mortgage Show. When the time comes to buy a house, you will be faced with a lot of important choices. Having a home inspection is a critical part of the process, so choose wisely. Masters Pest Control has over 30 years of residential pest control experience, and they work closely with Ultra Home Inspections. That means you get 2 inspectors for the price of 1. Better value, exceptional service. Consider Masters Pest Control. Call toll-free 877-656-2024. That's 877-656-2024.
I'm Sarah Kearns. Join me for Travels with Sarah on WTBQ 93.5 FM every Thursday at 11 a.m. discussing worldwide travel. Travels with Sarah is brought to you by Atagi Water.
This is Dave Dirks, outdoor columnist for the Times Herald Record. Join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for the Dirks Outdoors radio show. Each week, I'll have outdoor personalities from a variety of outdoor sports. That's the Dirks Outdoors show, Saturday mornings right here on WTBQ.
WTBQ.
We're back. We're laughing as usual. If we ever had a podcast, it would be like,
oh my goodness,
you got to see. Here's some of the stuff we're talking about during the breaks.
Oh my goodness,
a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Yes.
We find out some
how
secret
good I am at
stuff
golf.
that we may or may not share about a particular person in the room right now.
I'm a scratch golfer.
Yes.
Means I scratch off my scores.
He always wins with the highest score.
That's right.
That's for
That's
sure.
right.
That's for sure.
So we're going to run out of time, actually,
yes.
today. We have so much to talk about. We're going to need a 2-hour show.
Yes. So let me ask you a quick question, just jumping topics here about condominium insurance, right? So for the mortgage industry, somebody buys a condominium, they require the HO6 contents walls-in policy, right? So can you give our listeners an understanding of the walls-in and just what it covers and...
It's
other
like,
than being self-explanatory, walls in.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Mike.
Okay.
No, it's like a renter's policy. It really is like a renter's policy, except you are covering the sheetrock in. You are replacing the condo association has the studs, the beams, and you have to put the sheetrock and the paint and put the walls back in. So that's why they always say walls in.
Cabinetry and countertops and
all
the
that
kitchen
stuff is part of that. Correct.
So people should know that, because I don't think people understand that their HOA master insurance policy does not cover that. You know, I think a lot of people are unaware.
And again, that's the big thing with liability too, because again, a condo insurance, $30, it's $300,000 to $1 million. I mean, it's huge, and I mean, once you have that, you should always start looking at the next thing as far as an umbrella. You know, a personal umbrella for somebody who owns a condo or a house, has 2 cars. $1 million umbrella could be $150 a year, $200. Depending on the client, the vehicle. So
that's good to know. That's good to know.
Coverage.
Putting a dollar amount on it versus, you put a $1 million number on it, and people are like, "Oh my God, what do you mean? I got to jump it up that high."
Umbrella coverage is one of the least expensive policies, and I suggest everybody should have one.
Sounds good to me. Okay. What about flood insurance?
We
got a lot.
You're a little dreary on that.
I don't. You know
Come
why?
on, you got to
Because
perk up. Did you have your cup of coffee
I've
today?
been perky the whole morning. I've been great. I just
very
don't
perky.
like talking about flood insurance.
Nobody
I don't,
does.
because they keep changing the maps, and it's such a scary thing. To not to me, but like to my buyers.
Well, why do you think they changed the maps?
They just changed. What do you mean? Why do you think
Why?
they changed
All
the
the
maps?
storms.
With all the storms we've been having.
It's about money.
It is about money.
It's about money. They changed the maps to widen the areas, so this way they can get more people into the program and make money. Because it's a
Let me
federal
ask
program.
you this. But
I don't mean to get political, but
there were a lot of houses that were literally had 3 feet of water in them that never had that much water in them before.
Understood. But
back
there's
off.
a little there's a little more to it, in my opinion. That
keep it to
they
yourself,
need to
man.
they need to replenish the flood fund.
Well, I mean, to put it in perspective, I've been in the insurance business 10 years. And every time I offered a flood policy to somebody, I would show it to them, explain the premium, and they would be like, "No, thank you." So I probably sold in 6 or 8 in the last 10 years because they were
for people that were outside of the flood zone.
No, because they were bank required.
Okay.
The bank turned around and said, "You're in a flood zone. You must have
required, right?
So then they can't say no, thank you.
Right. In that particular situation, they can't say no, thank you, because they want the loan. But anytime outside of that it was offered, a client would say no, thank you, just because of the premium.
It's
you don't have to have
expensive.
homeowners insurance
No, it's
if your
expensive.
mortgage company, if you don't have a mortgage. Why wouldn't anybody have homeowners insurance if they didn't have a mortgage? So
Right, it's a good point.
It's
That's a good point.
it's like your car insurance. It's
So-
required because you have to have it because of the state. If you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to have homeowners insurance. But why wouldn't you want it?
So let me ask you this. My wife keeps telling me that we should consider flood insurance. I am nowhere near the flood zone, and my house is on an incline, right, or decline, however you look at it. And the only thing that the foundation wall has the dirt up against it on one side of the house, right, and then it goes down from there. If water was seeping in through the ground, is that a flood?
It depends, and the definition, FEMA's definition of flood, and your definition, and the way people look at it, it's different everywhere around. Flood is what's called a single peril coverage policy. I mean, it's flood. So, seepage from the ground from where? Where did it come from?
Just from the dirt, just from massive
Without
storm.
having it.
and-
From having a storm is one thing.
Yeah, I
but
mean, a massive
if your
storm
house
comes
is
and the
leaking
water's just coming in.
because
Right. I mean,
I got bigger
then
issues.
you got exactly. You need to
Exactly.
sage that thing. You got issues.
So it would be storm related, and therefore it would not be considered a flood. And
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you to that, by the way.
Listen,
knock on wood.
Don't get me in between husband and wife issues. I got my own. Thank you very much. No, thank you. You know?
Yeah, it's just,
So.
you don't know. The weather's been so crazy with all these
The weather has
storms,
been.
and, who knew? I mean, we've had, hurricane, tropical storm, and then Sandy did us in, and everything's just been so crazy.
Actually, I have a great question regarding that. So I just put in a standby generator, right, into my house. Is that going to, I didn't even call the insurance company. Is that going to help me as far as premium goes, having a standby generator on my house?
Well, is it outside?
It is.
And what
Outside, hooked up to the natural gas, goes on after 20 seconds.
And what did it cost you?
Wound up costing, it was a few $1,000s at the end of the day.
Lightning strikes it. Do you think it's covered?
I don't know.
Do you want it covered?
Yeah.
Did you tell your insurance agent that you just added it?
I love
Just squeaking.
this.
Yeah. What should I be answering?
No, certain things you have to, and that's why, as an insurance agent, I sit down with my clients and do a professional insurance review, sometimes semi-annual and annual. All these contracts are live contracts. They need to be looked at. Your auto, your home, your life insurance. People do renovations. They do buy generators. They, build new kitchens and bathrooms and add value to their homes. And,
You don't think
have
of it
to-
that way.
You have to look at these contracts.
Yeah, some people just buy the homeowners. They bought the house, they buy the homeowners, they think they're good, they're done. But they
Done.
don't realize all the work and improvements and different things that they've done over the year.
And
Over the
You guys
years.
are scaring me. I need
lot
my
of-
insurance company on my speed dial.
So a lot of things that are forgotten too and not known. Guns, fine arts, jewelry, comic book collections, coin collections.
Oh, I know somebody with an
These things have to
extensive
be
collection.
These things have to be appraised.
So then, all
Have
right.
to
So
have
given
value to
that,
them.
do people need to take pictures, like inventory of their homes, and itemize everything that they have? I mean, a value,
Mm-hmm.
and if they have an appraisal, they should share it with you, along with a picture, and say, we have
I've heard the
inventory.
idea of the video too. Taking
That's what
a
I was just
video of
going to say.
everything in the house.
I suggest that to all my clients. That's probably where you heard it.
You stole it. You stole it.
I thought I came up with that one.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I suggest having a video and having it offsite. You could have it at your office, having two copies of, and you walk around your house and you take your video camera and you look up and down and, this way when, God forbid, a claim happens, you don't tell your adjuster you had 12 plasma televisions in the house. He sees the one on the wall. He sees the one in the bath. You see
The one in the
everything.
bathroom? Is that what
That's
you
what I
were
was going to say.
Did you know I have
I was just at a house a couple of weeks ago.
I have one.
and
Hold
this-
on. I have
do
one
you?
in my bathroom. Yes, I do. In my master bathroom.
No, you
I
don't.
swear to God.
Do
I
you
swear to
really?
God, yeah. I watch TV
Okay,
every
no,
morning.
I was at a McMansion that had one.
can't.
I didn't expect that to come out from you. This was some house, but yeah.
I do. What can I tell you?
wrong with you?
When I had the house built, I had it installed.
TV in
Where do
the
you live?
bathroom?
Where do you live? So no,
I don't miss the news in the shower.
a lot of things. Oh my God, it's great. Right? That's good. And you do this every week with him, huh? God bless you.
We talk almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
We really do. I'm at a loss.
She tries to make
sometimes.
fun of me on a daily basis
I
too,
d-
but it doesn't really work.
It's very easy. What,
It
are you
is
kidding
easy.
me?
It is a long line to do that too.
I welcome it because it's comic relief for me. on a
Comic
daily
relief.
basis. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Big thing also, just to touch back on the homeowner's contents, jewelry. Jewelry, I was quoting a home this week and the person had a ring that was appraised 14 years ago. Is that ring
I
still
haven't had my ring appraised since I got married.
Is that ring still that value from 14 years ago, or is
What are you trying to say? It goes
it could be
down in
more.
value?
No, it could be
No,
more.
it could be more from appreciation.
It most likely would be more, and that's
Oh, I
why.
better get this baby
Do
approved.
you want to get 14 years ago's value, or do you want to get today's value?
This is
So-
25
And the
years old.
arsenal and the vehicles and the.
Yeah.
Because I have an arsenal. Oh, very
So
funny.
that's all some really good information,
Yeah.
Howard. I really appreciate you sharing all.
Thank
this
you for
information.
joining us.
No,
This was
thank
a
you
lot
for
of fun.
having me.
We're going to
Appreciate
have to have you come back because my cue cards here, I got a whole list
I
of
kept
things that
cutting
we
you
didn't
off
even
again.
get to. We didn't even get to. There's just so much to talk about, and we had too much fun in between. So we
This
kinda,
was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
We're going to have to
Appreciate it.
have you back. And
So anyone that would like to reach Howard, you can go on to farmfamily.com, look for the Harriman office, or call him at 845-738-8800. 1601. He is the general managing agent.
Associate general agent.
Sorry.
Get it right, Michael.
Get it right. Associate general
Oh, wait, and
agent.
your card
Take
is
him
right
anywhere.
here.
And the card's right in front of you.
Associate general agent.
Yeah. He's liked the Home and Mortgage Show on Facebook.
Facebook, absolutely.
So yes, you can. And look, if you're too shy to call in and you see what the following week's topic is, shoot us a message on Facebook because we can
I
do
just
that
realized
too.
the phone didn't.
Yeah, it was very quiet, but we were too entertaining. They didn't want to interrupt us. That's what it was today. But I'm Janine Panarelli, licensed real estate broker, owner of Panarelli Realty in Goshen. My number is 651-1776.
And Michael Gianetto with Residential Home Funding. You can call me at 845-496-0836. And we look forward to you joining us again next week.
Talk to you next
Thank you
week.
again,
Have
Howard.
a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.